So I got a lot of movies in the month of January, and that's one of the reasons that this video is 5 months behind. But we should probably get on to talking about them because these don't make themselves. Starting us off is Pig. I really liked Pig. I thought Pig was an incredible movie. And before I go on, I kind of have to discuss something about my personal life. So I was raised in this household that wasn't very accepting of a certain belief that I held. And it's been really hard to me to kind of talk about that more, but I'm becoming more open about it. And just head on, that belief was Nicolas Cage is a good actor. I don't get why no one in my family likes Nicolas Cage except me and my brother. I think Nicolas Cage is a good actor, and Pig is by far the best example of that. I think Pig is a really good movie. The acting is really good. It's one of my favorite directorial debuts. The writing is incredible. I think Pig is one of my favorite movies of 2021. It was a great movie. Next up is Beauty and the Beast. A fun Disney movie. I enjoy it. Not my all-time favorite, though, because that's Aladdin. I have a soft spot for Aladdin. Next up, Wild Bunch. I really like this movie. I think it's an excellent Western. And also, the opening and ending shootout of this movie are both really well directed. I loved both of those so much. I also did not know this movie was rated R. I didn't know that. So I watched it with my brother and my dad, and not only was it awkward, but not necessarily. There were some parts that were awkward, but the main thing that this is rated R for is just like a lot of blood. This does not go light on the blood. When someone gets shot, it is high resolution of blood absolutely splattering across their back. Wild Bunch is just... It's a good movie. I think it's a good movie. Next up, we have to acknowledge the holy trinity of Mel Brooks. You got Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs, and Young Frankenstein.
My name, it's pronounced Frankenstein.
Sorry, Young Frankenstein. I love Young Frankenstein a lot. I think this is a really good movie. It is by far one of my favorite comedies. It is funny as heck. Mel Brooks made a really good movie and actually a surprisingly good performance. I think this movie is really funny. There's this great running joke that Cloris Leachman's character, Frau Blucher? I'm just gonna say Blucher. There's this character played by Cloris Leachman named Frau Blucher, and whenever someone says Frau Blucher, all the horses go crazy. They just, is whinny the correct word? Either way, just the horses, like, flip out for some reason at the mention of her name. Even when there aren't horses in the room, you just hear horses. And it's stupid little jokes like that that make this movie really enjoyable. And there's also this scene where Mel Brooks and his monster, Frankenstein's monster, do a performance of Putting on the Ritz. I really like that scene. That was fun. Next up is Cinderella Man. Didn't see it, but I want to because I liked the other movie where Ron Howard and Russell Crowe worked together, A Beautiful Mind. Red Dawn. There comes a point in every boy's life where he must become a man. And no, I'm not talking about any weird stuff. I mean that there comes a point when you think you're just going to have a normal day, and then you go to school, your history teacher gets shot dead by communists, and then you get picked up by your brother, you and your friends go in to live by yourself in the woods while communists take over your town, and then you arm yourselves, and then you go to fight against the communists, and you become an all-American patriot. Down with communism. Red Dawn is a really stupid movie. I like the anti-communist messages, but I think Red Dawn's kind of stupid. Swayze's good in it, don't get me wrong, but Everything else was alright. I didn't buy Swayze as like a 30-year-old man hanging out with a bunch of like these 16-year-old kids. Maybe that's just me. So next up is The Equalizer. Didn't see it, but I want to. Life, didn't see it, but I want to. The Outlaw Josie Wales. So I tried watching this movie, but it didn't come off to me as one of those westerns where people go in guns blazing and it has a really well directed shootouts and action scenes like movies like Logan or The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or realistically any of Sergio Leone's movies. This is more of one of those movies where a guy wants vengeance. There are very small action scenes, and then for the most of the movie, they just walk and walk and walk and walk and walk. I might be wrong about that, though. I didn't complete it. I fell asleep at one point. When I fall asleep during the movie, that's the point I know I should stop. So maybe someday I'll go back and finish The Outlaw Josie Wales. So next up is Leon the Professional. This movie has 3 great performances. Jean Reno is good as the titular Leon. Gary Oldman is fantastic as the villain. And Natalie Portman in this movie, in her first role, still remains one of my favorite child performances ever. Like, top 2 child performances. My favorite will more than likely always be Haley Steinfeld in True Grit. But Leon the Professional with Natalie Portman, close second, easily. Next up is Miracle. I didn't see it yet, but I want to because I like Remember the Titans, and so, I have a soft spot for Disney family sports movies. Next up is Shawshank Redemption. I don't even need to say anything about it. You also know how good it is. Shawshank Redemption is incredible. Paris Je t'aime. I didn't see this movie yet, but I mostly bought it because it's a bunch of short films directed by different directors, and among those directors are people like Luc Besson, who directed Leon the Professional, Alfonso Cuarón, is that his name? Alfonso Cuarón, who directed Gravity and the third Harry Potter movie. The Coen brothers, who directed, as you might know, The Big Lebowski, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Fargo. So I mostly bought it because I like those directors, but I am not sure when I actually am going to feel like watching it. Next up, Lincoln. I am a huge U.S. presidents and politics nerd. I'm really into, presidents and U.S. history. Like, I can name every single U.S. president in order of when they serve their term off the top of my head. I can do it in, 2 minutes. I'm not going to right now, but ask me sometimes and I'll probably do it for you. Lincoln, though, I like this movie a lot. Daniel Day-Lewis is really good in that movie. So, yeah, Lincoln. Next is Seven, or SevenSeven. I like this movie. It's a good movie. It's messed up as heck. It is really crazy. Especially with the crime lust. So, what Seven is about is a killer who kills based on the 7 deadly sins. And a lot of the crimes he commits are just brutal. Lust especially. A lot of people will say, sloth is really violent. Not violent, but disturbing. Lust is really messed up in this movie. So, Seven is a really messed up movie with great performances from Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, and obviously Kevin Spacey. I love Kevin Spacey. Not like that. I like Kevin Spacey as an actor. It's a messed up movie. I like it. David Fincher did a good job. $1 Million Arm, like I said, sucker for Disney sports movies. I haven't seen it yet, but I probably will because I like baseball movies, and Jon Hamm is amazing. He's a very charming dude. So next up is Ronin. Haven't seen it, but I want to. Last of the Mohicans. I really like this movie. I like it when you can take like a period piece action movie and make it work. And Last of the Mohicans definitely did that. Yeah. So next up is Red. This movie by far has one of my favorite kills of all time in an action movie. It's where John Malkovich's character is getting hunted by this lady. And so she pulls out a bazooka, because this movie's insane, shoots it at John Malkovich, and John Malkovich just stands there. He pulls out his gun, shoots the bazooka, and it blows up, and the explosion manages to catch the other girl who actually shot at him in the first place. It's such a bombastic, weird kill, but Red is a surprisingly great action movie, and the ending of this movie is so weird, like where Bruce Willis and John Malkovich are running away from I don't know who, but an army of people, it seems, while John Malkovich is dressed like a woman and in a wheelbarrow, and there are explosions in the background. Yeah, that's the ending of this movie. What the heck? So next is The Princess Bride. Rob Reiner had this long streak in the 80s and 90s where he was just on a roll, dude. Like Misery, A Few Good Men, Princess Bride, This Is Spinal Tap, When Harry Met Sally. He was on a roll. He was doing great. And Princess Bride, out of all of his movies, Princess Bride is like my second favorite because I like This Is Spinal Tap more. I'm sorry, but I like This Is Spinal Tap a lot. But Princess Bride is a great movie. It's so quotable, like inconceivable. Or my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. I love that final scene, or that final fight with Inigo Montoya where he is constantly repeating that phrase because he wants it to be the last words his father's killer hears. I love that scene. Everything about that scene is amazing. The Princess Bride overall is just a fantastic movie. If you somehow haven't seen it, not only should you go watch it, but you should know I'm disappointed in you. Next up is The Campaign. Didn't see it. Probably won't. I don't even know why I bought that. Yeah, I don't remember. Killing Them Softly. Didn't see it, but want to because Brad Pitt is amazing. 50-50. Want to see it. I'm still waiting on my mom to see it. Mom, do you want to see 50-50 yet? Next is Source Code. Source Code's a great movie. I really like Source Code. But the happy ending it tries to get is so weird once you actually think about it. So what Source Code is about is Jake Gyllenhaal is this soldier who puts his consciousness into another person's brain to determine the perpetrator of a terrorist attack. And so he is just trying to find a terrorist. He is in this guy's brain. The guy's name is Sean Fentress, and he's dating Michelle Monaghan. So eventually, at the end of the movie, Jake Gyllenhaal decides, hey, you know what? How about I stay in this body as Sean Fentress and then date Michelle Monaghan? And it seems like a happy ending. They're all happy together. And he saved her from a terrorist attack. But you kind of just took over a random guy's life. That doesn't make you heroic at all. It's not a happy ending even. This man was a teacher, he had a family and a girlfriend. And you just took over his consciousness so you can date Michelle Monaghan. The happy ending isn't well thought out in this movie. That's my point. So next is I Am Legend. By far, I think this is Will Smith's second best performance. His first was pretending like Chris Rock's joke was not funny, because it was. But yeah, I Am Legend is a great movie. I like the alternate ending of it better. If you check out the alternate ending, it definitely is more poignant. Poignant? I don't know how to say that word. But point is, alternate ending good, regular ending still good, but not as good, and doesn't fit as well. Well, it kind of does, but the alternate ending is just perfect in every way. So yeah, I Am Legend, good enough movie. Sad as heck towards the second act, like almost on the floor crying. It's a sad movie. Finally is Howl's Moving Castle. I'm gonna be honest. Howl's Moving Castle is good, but I'm not a fan of Hayao Miyazaki's movies. I have seen My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, and Howl's Moving Castle, and I still need to see Princess Mononoke. But the thing is, they're kind of slow moving for me. That's just my opinion. Don't get me wrong. I agree that the animation is beautiful and they are all very creative and inventive. I just think they move a bit slow. But Howl's Moving Castle is by far one of the best looking animated movies I've ever seen. It is a gorgeous movie. And now we move on to the grand finale, Blu-ray of the month, where I choose the top 5 best movies that I like the most out of all of these. At 5th place is Seven. I really like this movie. I thought David Fincher did a great job, and I thought the performances really were incredible. At number 4 is The Princess Bride. Of course it's got to be on there. It's iconic and hilarious. It is an ultimate comfort movie. At number 3, Young Frankenstein. I loved Young Frankenstein. I can see myself watching it a few hundred more times and not getting bored of it. At 2 is Pig. I really loved this movie, but the main reason it's not at number 1 is because number 1 is obvious. At number 1 is The Shawshank Redemption. Of course, it's IMDb's highest rated movie. It's definitely one of my favorites. I love The Shawshank Redemption. It is a fantastic movie. Well, that just about does it for January Blu-ray editions. Sorry I couldn't get this video out sooner. I've been kind of lazy and busy. I promise I'll try and catch up on Blu-ray editions and then get some reviews out shortly. Before you leave, why don't you tell me your favorite of all these movies? You saw mine was The Shawshank Redemption, obviously, but I cannot stress enough how great Pig was. Just top tier Nicolas Cage. Anyway, I'll stop rambling now. You go have a nice day. Stay safe and watch good movies. Bye!